What's up, BKC? You know, your boy J Reed. Make sure you like, make sure you subscribe. I want to start off with that. Bloodline Kennel Club, you know what we do over here. Educate, do a little bit of breeding, and you know, I'll have some more on that for you guys. You know, soon. You see I have my gloves on, so you already know what I'm dealing with. Kind of give you guys an idea. I just cleaned up the whelping box. You want to do this every day if you have puppies and you have a box like mine. Make sure you clean it out all the time. What I'll be using this time around, as again guys, educational process. Most of you know at first I used this by itself. You know, easy for the puppies to slide early on in the early stages if mom, you know, is squeezing on one of the pups. But you know, that kind of base also encourages flat chests, which is something, if you guys look at my videos, we've experienced before. Bloodline Kennel, you know, for the Bloodline family, you already know what I'm talking about. So this could you know, enforce, you know, flat chests. We also had the last litter. What we did was we put in some artificial grass in for a few days, but of course, you know, that can get a little bit messy. And then we incorporated sawdust when the pups were a little, not sawdust, sorry, pond shavings, sawdust, well, shavings, wood shavings, you know, when the pups were a little bit older. But you want to try to not get that in as early as, you know, the young age, because, you know, it can cause some breathing problems for the pups. Relax, mama. So what we're trying out this time, as you know, we're getting better with it. I just take out the scrap paper, old ones. You can see a little bit of blood there because, you know, mom still kind of bleeding. See a little bit of drops there. You know, she had some, time to time you'll get some clots, guys. You know, and that's something that you could expect. You know, a little towel wiping up every now and then towels, very important, guys. You need towels. This is the fresh paper, so you know, when this dries up a little, we're gonna get it in. The reason why I allow it to dry up by itself, you know, I clean it out nicely, you know, a lot of water, then I use my rag, soak it out, rinse it out, wring it out, sorry, and then until we get to a complete dry surface. You know, I use disinfectant as well, but since the pups are very young, you don't want to use too much, so you know, you just use a small amount for a large amount of water. You're just trying to avoid, you know, mites, flies, and all of these things, because you're going to get that because mom is still bleeding, especially if we're going to be using paper. You know, that's just going to stay on the paper, as you can see here. You know, and you gotta change this every day. Okay, guys? So that's why I look this bad, guys. But if you're a breeder, you know what I'm talking about. You know what it is. You know, it's just a case where it can get that hectic where you don't even have time for yourself. You don't even have time to eat sometimes, because we try to make sure the pups get in, you know, the best nutrition as possible, making sure they're feeding all the time, making sure mom is not squeezing them, you know. So you have to be taking like small naps in between, you know, not real full naps. I have pups right now, they're just 2 days old, and I'll be giving you guys a video on that. This video is mainly about some of the preparations, you know, or the things that you'll be going through. So towels, guys, very important. Clean towels, of course, if you're going to be handling the pups with them. If you clean out your kennel, you can get some older towels, you know, not dirty towels, but you know, older towels. But if you're using it on your pups, you need clean towels. If you're going to be holding the pups with them. Gloves, very important. You know, I just ran out, I had to go get some more. So gloves are very important, guys, you know, when you're handling the pups, especially at an early age, especially if you have other dogs, guys. You know, you want to make sure that you always wash your hands, your feet, before you come inside of the whelping area, right? Like for me, for example, I have a whelping area that I use for my pups. You know, we have a lockup section for when no one is home. We have a section where, you know, if people are home, then we can have the dogs free up. Well, not the dogs, but the mom free up. The pups always locked up, or always in the section that can get locked up. So of course, safety, you know, you want to make sure if you're producing fire that you have safety and whatnot. You have cameras, you know, all of these things around to make sure, you know, you have any imposters. Okay, so we have all of that set up. Food. So you realize, guys, for the first few days after birth, mom might not have a big appetite. You know, some dogs are different, right? But mom might not have a huge appetite early on, because she, after giving birth, you know, if you like me and you allow your dogs to do a natural birth, and you know, try to keep it as natural as possible. So some people go about it where they're the ones taking off the sack on the pups and whatnot. You know, I guide it, but I try not to involve too much. I allow mom to be a mom, you know, and that also allows the mom, you know, mentally to be stronger as a mother, you know, allows it to, you know, embrace nature, you know. And that's why my dogs are such good parents, because I allow them to take that role, you know. Although I get them off very early from the pups, but during the time that they're there, I allow them to take that role. So I allow Roxy to eat, you know, the sacks when the pups come out, you know. That's what they naturally would do, you know. If I realize that she's taking too long to get to the head, you know, to free up the breathing, you know, for the pup, I'll then take it on my own to do so. You also need to have, you know, your gears in place for both time, guys. A suction is very important, just in case you have a pup that comes out lifeless. In this litter we had one, and I wanted to take a video for you guys, but I was so busy, you know, trying to make things happen, and I didn't have anyone else here with me, you know, for the 2 days, you know, that we were in the birth process. Well, a day, but you know, it kind of like one day going to the other day, you know. So you want to make sure you have these things in place, you know, just in case you have a pup that comes out, you know, stuffed with the fluid from the sack. You know, you need to use your suction to get it out, you know. So you can get that very cheap, because they have them available for like babies, human babies, so you can get that at any store for your dogs. So you want to make sure you get that, guys. Another thing is that food, you just, regardless whether mom is eating or not, you want to make sure that you always have food available. Water, always available. You'll realize that your water goes down much quicker, because obviously mom is feeding liquids, so she needs to regenerate that all the time. Okay, so that's very important, water. But always make food available whether she's eating or not. She's probably not going to eat in the first few days, as I was mentioning earlier, mainly because she would eat, you know, the sacks that the puppies come out of, you know. Also they eat the placenta as well when it comes out last, you know, and that's a lot for a dog. You know, if you think of how much you feed a dog or what you put into your dog's bowl on a daily basis, you know, if you have a lot of pups, you know, and the dog have to eat all of that, that could hold it down for a few days, you know what I mean? Also, appetite is not really going to be a big thing, you know, right away. Mom is not going to be leaving the pups all the time, you know, to eat. You know, she wants to make sure everything is safe and secure, you know, so a lot of that would play a role. You want to make the dog as comfortable as possible. It's raining outside, guys, so I wasn't able to give you guys any dog footage, you know, and I've been saying that for my last few videos. This is why we haven't been putting out a lot of content. I'm very close to the rainforest, so we have a lot of rain. You know, I know you guys saw that I posted out for Breeders series. Well, we talk about the color genetics, so make sure you guys follow that video. But I'm not going to talk too much on that. You know, you guys can check that out, so that way you can learn about the coat colors, you know, and what genetics you want to put together. So I encourage everyone to, you know, to start getting DNA tests. You know, let's try and get into that role, you know, DNA testing our dogs, health testing our dogs, color testing our dogs, because we go into a lot of people who just want colorful dogs, and that's just what it is, guys. So if you're a breeder, you put in your best foot forward if you're producing colorful dogs, you know, along with the structure and everything else, but you want to put in that color as well, because you don't want dogs to stay on your hands. You definitely don't want to sell dogs for people who cannot afford, so you end up lowballing your price just to get someone in who, you know, who can just afford whatever price that they call on you, and then now you sell that dog for that person. If they couldn't pay the initial price of the dog, what makes you think they could feed the pup? So I call that animal cruelty, guys. If you're breeding to take minimum dollar, that's animal cruelty, because that person, you know, 90% of the time will not be able to take care of that pup. What else do you need? So yeah, guys, it's just raining, you know, real bad, so I had to pause for a little while. But what else do you need, guys? Nutrition is important. Make sure you have your omega-3s in hand, you know, your milk replacers in hand. When I say omega-3s, you know, 6 and 9s, you know, all of your vitamins as well. That's for mom. Because remember, the pups are going to be taking all of the good nutrition. That's naturally what's going to happen. The pups, that's going to go into the milk, you know, and the pups are going to be taking all of that. That's why you find before birth, just before birth and after birth, that females, the dam would normally shed, you know, and that's because the pups are taking a lot of those nutrients that, you know, would hold the fur together, would keep her together, you know, and that's all part of the natural process, you know, where a dog who's nesting, you know, release fur, and it makes sense because, you know, now she has a lot of fur in one specific section, you know, promotes some heat, you know, forms a nest, you know, because she's shedding that. But the real reason that's happening is because the pups on the inside are drawing all of that nutrients from mom. Sometimes you find like some dams, they start to lose fur, you know, like when I say lose fur, I mean, I said that earlier, but when I say lose fur, I mean like you can see bald patches on them. You know, you think it's mange and whatnot, but it's just a lot of nutrition that the dog is losing. So you have to be able to rebuild that, you know, or keep working on it. For me personally, my females, you know, they get an extra boost, a double boost of omega-3s. You know, I have my own product, of course, you know, the 369 Plus. So I use that all the time. You know, you can use whatever you feel works for you, whatever brand you feel works for you, but make sure you get in the right amount in. And what I do is I double it just before, because she has the pups on the inside, so I want to make sure that the pups get in, you know, what they're supposed to get, and also mom is not losing anything on herself as well. When she gives birth, I continue when she gives birth, I will continue the process as well. So make sure you have your nutrients on hand, guys. Calcium, all of that is necessary, you know, for mom. Or you could feed a balanced diet, you know, with a little bit extra, you know, if you put in sardines in there, if you put in the mackerels and whatnot in there, you know, just get a little extra, you know, get a little more juice for mom so she can get that nutrients, the nutrients out of it. So that's the main things, guys. So towels, gloves, nutrients, you know, your multivitamins, you get that in hand, you know, whatever you're gonna be using, you know, to avoid flat chests, you know, in your kennel, you know, whether it be sawdust, whether it be, well, when I say sawdust, you know, I'm saying shavings, guys. I just don't know why I keep saying that. Your shavings, you know, if you have a special carpet structure that you use, you know, like maybe artificial grass and whatnot, you know, and you have replacements for it all the time, make sure you have your disinfectants to be cleaning all the time as well, guys. Trying to avoid as much pest as possible. And of course, guys, make sure you're taking care of those pups, make sure they feed him. That's one of the main things. Make sure mom is feeding, you know, because you have to be able to tell. Hey, Rox, leave that. So right now I'm just gonna fill this up. Give you guys a little view of that. Roxy already like kind of going in there. So I want to take some. Okay, Rox. Good portion. You don't want to give too much, you know, but just enough to give some cushion in there. Okay guys, so this is just a quick glimpse of what we have going on. Of course, I'll be doing a separate video with the pups. Usually I do that when they're about a week old. Today they're just 2 days old. So this is how we set up the paper. I prefer, you know, not the longer shreds of paper, but I guess that's what I could find. So we're going to work with it for now. But yeah, guys, so Bloodline, you got a little sneak peek there. Big up yourself. Make sure you subscribe, guys. And of course, you know, check out the color genetics video, guys. I know it's gonna give you guys a lot of info on what you're looking for. I know a lot of people interested in color right now. So, you know, just check it out. It could be a big insight, you know, instead of you guys, you know, the breeders out there, you know, wasting the breeds, you know, like wasting the breed and the pups, you know, putting pups out there that you kind of find homes for. You understand? Like, don't waste your time. It's a business, so if you're gonna be doing the business, just do it the right way and you should be fine. Okay, guys, so I feel like I giving you all a little bit too much. But you don't know. Big up yourself. Have a blessed one, guys. Of course, happy new year to all of you. I didn't get a chance to say that. One love. You don't know. We out.